Hey everybody, it's good to be back in Boston, Massachusetts. Just went on a 6-week mine trip and was in Texas for a little bit, checking out some festivals and just checking out Texas, learning to be a cowboy, learning to be a man, because we have many real men down there who smoke Marlboros without filters. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna just start and kick it off. So I'm gonna do some songs for you, and I appreciate it. Just kind of keep the noise to a minimum. And for all of you studying out there, I appreciate that anyway. And just kind of listen to my songs, and I'm gonna play them for you. And I spent some time writing them, and I'd love for you to listen to them. And this first song is a song that's on my new album, and it's called The Hand That Feeds. And feel free to please sing along, as is what I learned in Texas, how powerful that is. The power of the sing-along. And that kind of part. I will cue. You may just have it worse than any person, so it seems. Your life is very good, but you want better. You're not alone. I once worked only 20 hours a week. I learned to never bite the hand that feeds. I raise you still, I pay your bills, but nothing is complete. How can Daddy set a good example? And how much can you bend? Does it depend on what you eat? Never bite the hand from which you feed. Here's your part. Do what you gotta do. Say what you gotta say. I'll provide you anything you need. And never bite the hand from which you feed. You're moving on. Lies beyond you'll find is not so sweet. The world does not revolve around your finger. Oh, avoid mistakes, be sure you make a promise you can keep. Oh, never bite the hand from which you feed. And do what you gotta do. Say what you gotta say. I'll provide you anything you need. And never bite the hand from which you feed. Now, should I follow you and go too?
No. Yeah.
money sees you broke, you better hope that talk is cheap. But is young and single. Don't think too much, enjoy your lunch, and go on back to sleep. And know that you can always count on me. So do what you gotta do, and say what you gotta say. I'll provide you anything you need, and never bite the hand from which you feed. So do what you gotta do, and say what you gotta say. I'll provide you anything you need, and never bite the hand from which you feed. Never bite the hand from which you feed. It never bite the hand from which you feed.
I like the way they flick around here.
Here's another sing-along. I wrote this right before the end of the festival, you know. It's like, what do you do? What do you do when you're leaving the festival after you've been living in a tent for 4 weeks? I think laundry would be a good idea. Laundry, yes.
Didn't they have like a riverbank with stones?
They did have that, but you know, I'll tell you, some people should be doing the laundry like every day. I'm not saying who.
Any stars? Any stars?
That's just, well,
Ancient Chinese secret.
Marty Sykes.
ancient Chinese secret. Kyle got on tape.
My husband, some husband.
My husband. So sorry. Anyway, this is a song that I was at this festival, you know, and I fell in love. At least I thought it was love. And she's somewhere in the South. You know, I don't see her anymore. But I got 2 songs out of her so far. And this is the first one, and it's called Shooting Star. And it's a love song, and I welcome sing-alongs, always. I'll start off with the chorus, too. You can always find me in the meadow. I'll be waiting underneath the tree. Oh, shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine. It would hurt even more if I loved you. Heaven knows if I do. But the birds have got me thinking about you, and I suppose this is true. You can always find me in the meadow. I'll be waiting underneath the trees. Oh, shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine for me. Won't you rest a little while upon my shoulder? It feels nice, like a teddy bear. It seems the best things in life will take me over. Oh, at any time, or always find me in the middle. I'll be waiting underneath the tree. The shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine for me. I've been dreaming of you in a halo, Texas sky, Chapel Hill. Can you believe how quickly the days go by and by? Will I be here still? You can always find me in the meadow. I'll be waiting underneath the tree. The shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine for me. You can always find me in the meadow. I'll be waiting underneath the tree. The shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine for me. The shooting star, the moon is ours, my angel. So shine, 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 shine for me. Oh, shine, 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 shine for me. Oh, shine, 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 shine for me. Oh, shine, 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 shine for me. A blues tune that I like a lot. G. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you check back there? There's a leather bag. There's like a sea pot in this. It looks like it says old standby on it. Back? Yeah, it's back there. Yeah. What we got? No, my bag's in there. I could do it without it. I just want to play. This is a traditional tune that I got off the Bob Dylan bootleg. I don't know if I should say that. And it's called Karina Karina. Corina, Corina, girl, what's on your mind? I've been thinking about you, baby. I just can't keep from crying. I got a bird that'll whistle. I got a bird that sings. Got a bird that'll whistle. I got a bird that sings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I ain't got Corina. That don't mean a thing. Ain't got Corina. I can't be satisfied. Ain't got Corina. I can't be satisfied. I ain't got a black cat on my trail and car shivers by my side. Yeah, yeah. satisfied. Ain't got Corey, I can't be satisfied. Ain't got a black cat on my trail and a cow is by my side. Nice and quiet. Where you been so long? Corina, Corina, where you been so long? I've been worried about you, baby. Baby, please come home. Come home. Come home. I'm trying to guitar. Okay, two more. Since you like that song in that key, I'm gonna do the next song in the same key. The words to this song are, for the old man driver, step aside, would you please? For he knows this highway, he drove all night, yes he did. I am just a rider, young and wild, that is me. Or you could say, that I'm me. And for the old man driver, let him by and let him be. So it's about respect for your elders, and I wrote the song. So feel free to sing along. For the old man driver, step aside, would you please? For he knows this highway, we drove all night, yes he did. I am just a rider, young and wild, that'll me. For the old man driver, let him by and let him bleed. Used to mop johns in a bus station. Used to clean tables in a pancake dome. Used to punch a clock in a junk basement. Used to wipe cable for the blackout road. Yeah, sing along. For the old used to tell him every day and every night. Papa used to say, put away pennies. Put away a third of every 10 you own. Mama used to say, get yourself married. Get yourself a girl, but don't you bring her home. His brother used to say, take out the garbage. Take out all the trash and read the Bible, boy. Don't forget to recycle. His sister used to say, don't be a smart ass. Don't try to act like you're the mighty Lord. For the old man driver, step beside, would you please? For he knows this highway. He drove all night, yes he did. I am just a rider, young and wild and out of bed. For the old man driver, let him by and let him leave. Why don't you sing along with me right here? Music was made for love. Cruising was made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Music was made for love. Cruising was made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Music was made for love. Cruising was made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Music was made for love. Cruising was made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Gonna teach his dog to bark at the mailman. Gonna raise a flag along a fireman pole. Gonna stretch his arm out to the ocean. Gonna make the pelican an ice cream cone. For the old man driver, step inside, would you please? For he knows this highway. Drove all night, yes he did. I am just a rider, young and wild that I made. For the old man driver, let him by and I'll let him bleed. Say it one more time. For the old man driver, step aside, would you please? For he knows this highway. We drove all night, yes it did. I am just like Shiver, young and wild that I made. For the old man driver, let him by and let him bleed. little by little baby. Thanks a lot, my name's Kevin Soul, and this house out on the guitar. Good night. Thank you. I have tapes too. Thank you.
Mr. Rader, hey Jim, you know how to unplug these things? You're unplugged.
Let's hear it again for Kyle Shiver and Kevin So. Or if you prefer Kevin So and Kyle Shiver. Or Kyle So, Kevin Shiver. I did that on purpose. Okay. You're Sonia, correct? Okay, and on deck, continuing with our open mic, we have a few more people here. This is Sonia's chord, which will shortly be followed by Sonia Tetlow. And this is her first time here, so let's hear it for her, please.
Yeah, he told me that. He said give me time.
Hey, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for Thanks for having me. She sits beneath the flower bed with a rosary in her hand. Memory gripping her creases of mind with a night that will never end. When she promised and prayed she'd do anything if God would just let her live. But a man with a gun took more than her life and left her to die of sin. She was only 16. She wasn't all that pure, and she tried to walk the steps up to her front door. She doesn't know why she is still alive or why he let her go. She remembers only the flashing of eyes and the pain of steel and stone, blood and bone. The sin of walking alone, steel and stone, blood and bone, never be told. It must all be kept secret now, to protect her faithful name. They said it's for your own good, child, to shroud you from the shame. 'Cause someone rather die than give up what you gave, and now there's just no way for your soul to be saved. Steel and stone, blood and bone. The sin of walking alone, steel and stone, blood and bone, never be told. now she sits beneath a flower bed, with rose in her hand. I sealed by tears she was never allowed to shed. The secrecy of a nightmare, never spoken, never shared. She climbed atop their altar of guilt and sacrificed herself. Steel and stone, blood and bone, the son of walking alone. Steel and stone, blood and bone, never be atoned. Steel and stone, blood and bone, she was never walking alone. Stone, blood and bone, she could never choose. Well, I play with a band called Piece if you're ever down south. You wanna see some music. And we have a CD if you're, around. I've been riding down the highway. It's been 6 days here and gone. In the blur, my dreams become to figure out where I went wrong. I don't know where I'm going. I guess I'll see it when I'm gone. But the air is sweet and the view is free, and this place feels like my home. It's been a long and dusty journey. So many years gone by, and I feel them all wash away as the wheels beneath me fly. The sadness in departure, but there's freedom in goodbye. So I'll keep my eyes fixed upon the road of future time. But it used to feel so simple to live and learn and love, to follow every rainbow like some promise from above, to sacrifice tomorrow for wings of burning sun, and raise a wing of fire and sing the songbird has begun. So don't tell me now the meaning is gone. Don't tell me now the meaning is gone. As the wind rushes in, and the miles pass by, night will fall, but the sun will rise. shadow parts and hope begins to grow. Across a distant horizon, shimmering with morn, as a sliver fire of white and gold waits to be born.
Okay, doing some traditional, were those traditional songs or original compositions? They were original, but they had a traditional flavor. And I was sitting here wondering whether they were traditional or not, which means they're good songs. And that was Sofia Tetlow. She's from Atlanta. Are you going to be around Massachusetts for a while? Oh, then you're off back to Atlanta? Oh, well thanks for dropping by and playing. Sofia Tetlow from Atlanta. Okay, is Katie Foster still here? I think she left. Poetry person. Katie Foster once, Katie Foster twice. Meryle Swartz canceled. She gave me notice. Okay, so it looks like next on deck, and he's ready too. He's psychic, this guy. Please welcome, what's this VC?
Viet Cong.
Matt Viet Cong Griffin.
Charlie can't serve.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. This is a new one. I wrote this, well actually the song tells the story pretty well, but I got drunk and I made it pass at somebody and remembered just enough of it to write this song. Remember the song. I think you felt it too. Fell in love a dozen times. Fell in love with you. I fell in love with everyone. Something may touched you. You stayed with me so long, you had found home, and I guess you don't want one. Time it all seemed so
times I fell in love with you, fell in love with everyone. But I need to fall just once and land on my feet, still falling. Next time I'll know all the words to that one. One of my favorite things to do to myself lately is to restring my guitar right before I come out to play. How to ensure a really good show. All right. Used to be my heart was set to live, oh, and I've been fighting hard against unbelievable odds. It's so hard in times like now to hold on. All the fight and fight, deep inside I'm strong. And there ain't no one going to turn me round. No, there ain't no one going to turn me round. People around to tell you that they know, oh, all the places where to send you, and it's easy to go. Pick you up, dress you down, stand you in a row, but you know that you don't have to. You can just say no. And there ain't no one going to turn me round. No, there ain't no one going to turn me round.
Thank you. That's not my song, but it's a good song. And I'm playing tomorrow night with Kyle Schreiber over at the Bookseller Cafe, and on Friday with Mr. Jim Rader over at the Phoenix Coffee House. And also Nathan Thompson will be on that show. So come on out. Woo!
Thanks, man. What did this guy do to my strap? This is... C.T. Elliott borrowed my guitar.
That'll teach you.
He transposed it. Yeah, that's what you get, you know.
The world's out to get you.
You give them an inch and they take 2 inches. Look, I'm gonna sit down. This is do one more song for a captive audience. Dun, 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 dun. It's this one, right?
Healthy. That's pathetic humor.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks.
Totally ineffectual, unable. Woo, we sympathize with your pain. We feel your pain. We feel your pain.
So good, man.
Okay, then.
Now it's make remember those lyrics. It's gonna have to roll around. You just gotta. Actually, you know what it is? I find if I can't remember the lyrics, the songs that I've written, even though I've done them over and over, just I can settle what it is I'm gonna say.
So that's cool.
A lot of times, like.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I don't like to get close. Loud.
It might be. I mean, that's what I started doing.
Okay, I'm gonna do this traditional song I learned from a Ralph McTell album. It's called "I Ain't Got No Use for Your Red Apple Juice."
All right. Can't start the 100 days now. Mumbling.
I ain't got no use for your red apple juice. Ain't got no baby now. Ain't got no honey, baby now. I ain't got no care for your red rocking chair.
Sinister, huh?
Ain't got no baby now. Ain't got no honey, baby now. Tell your mama, tell your papa, gonna send you back home next payday. Gonna send you back home next payday. I ain't got no use for your old red apple juice, Jerry. Ain't got no baby now.
Lord have mercy.
Ain't got no honey, baby now. I ain't got no care for your old red rocking chair. Ain't got no baby now. Yeah. Ain't got no honey, baby now. Tell your mama, tell your papa, I'm gonna send you back home next payday. I'm gonna send you back home next payday. One more solo for Jerry.
Really sad, Jim.
Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna end the night on that morose note.
No, Melissa's gonna do one.
Oh,
You're gonna do. So, you're gonna stand, right?
I can sit.
Want to sit?
Either one. Easiest.
Please sit. I don't feel like messing with this thing no more.
Problem.
we can fix
Okay,
it.
Melissa Reeves gonna do another one. She's up from North Carolina. You're gonna be here for a while too, aren't you?
Yeah, a year.
For at least a year, so you're gonna be hearing some good music. She's been compared to Janis Joplin. I think she's much better. She's alive. So she'll be up here in a minute.
You're gonna like to keep bringing that up. He's gonna keep bringing that. That's what happened.
Okay, so what do you want?
It's a lot. All right, so you sing.
See, now it's all your fault.
No, he was saying that. He was saying.
I didn't say a word about it. I let it go. So,
I made up nicknames with myself.
no, you were Viet Cong, not Viet Cong.
That was tonight.
Carl, sweetie life.
I like that. I like that.
Call me Jared Secret Sauce.
I like it better.
My own name is Jared Secret Sauce. Call me Secret Sauce.
Very cornbread goat check.
There you go.
Very cornbread goat check.
I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna be Lucy.
Fat back here. Greasy fat back. Crawfish Mary, catfish Mary. Catfish Mary. Catfish Mary, cornbread Jerry.
No, you don't want to go. You can call me.
Bean burrito, Jerry?
No, Papaya King. Jerry Papaya King. 2 dogs and a small papaya. 2 dogs. Dirty dog. Jerry, dirty dog.
Let me go, Jerry. Great job, great job.
Need some help, hon?
I think I got it.
I'm gonna call my first album Arcade.
I thought it was gonna fall. This table
See, because I've got answer her close.
Well, this is a cover tune. I just thought I'd do one
Okay.
and have fun. We'll never do it again.
That's not true.
You'll never do it again?
Not tonight.
I need a shelter from somebody's arms, and there you are. I need someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you are. With sweet love and devotion, sweetly touching my emotions. I wanna stop, tell you, baby, and I just wanna stop. Sweet it is to be loved by you. Close my eyes deep in the night. I've been wondering how to be without you in my life. Everything I do is you, most boy. And when it seemed I had been there before, but you ran away, baby, out of my dreams of love. So sweet and so many, many words, and I wanna stop. Thank you, babe. I just wanna stop, yeah. Sweet it is to be done by you. Stop, 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 baby, I just wanna stop, yeah. Sweet as to be loved by me, sweet as to be needed by, sweet as to be loved by, sweet as to be needed by. To be wanted by and to be held by you, and for you to pay my bills, and hopefully you won't pay them late. To be loved by you.
And that concludes this here open mic. Ending on an upbeat. All right, it's your sound system. You want to do another? We want to hear another one from Melissa. You got it, babe. You want to do another one? Put that chord back in and do it.
What is that? You don't like
side. The pain's so great, your choice was to die. Shame passed down from many years gone by. Would you expect so I even try? Oh, dear, white men down there. Ooh, so let your tears fall down. Stay with you. Is he the one who really knows the truth? Took by remorse, feeling shame. I know the charge wasn't charged to death, so in vain. Trust your tears, for they hold the key to your truth. So live your life free. Live your life free. Live your life free. Live your life free. Trust your tears, let them fall like rain. Trust your tears to live your life free. Live your life free.
That was Live at Liberty. This segment featured Kevin So, Sofia Tetlow, Katie Foster, Meryle Swartz, Matt Griffin, Kris Dilmhorst, Melissa Reeves, Jim Rader, and then for our grand finale, Melissa Reeves again. This concludes this segment of our show. Please stay tuned for more on Noise Party. Mickey Bliss organ combo, live at the Middle East Bakery. That was the Mickey Bliss organ combo live at the Middle East Bakery. Hi, I'm the Wrong Hero, and that was the Mickey Bliss organ combo doing the last two songs of their set. We'll be showing that entire set in 2 weeks hence on this program. I thought I would take the remaining minutes of this program to talk a little bit about the Middle East Cafe. Now, if my voice seems a little ragged, it's because, as you will discover, I had to shout because the microphone they were using in the Middle East Bakery was there when I first started working there in 1988, back when Joe Harvard and Skaggy Kendall and Billy Ruane were theoretically running the place. And but you know, and even then, it was like a microphone that dated from the Pleistocene era. You expected to open, you unscrew it, you expect a little bird to be in there panting, and it's tired. Man, this job's murder. You know, it's like the Flintstones. Barney and Fred come barging in. Hey, give us that microphone. Pebbles and Bam Bam need it for their big show at Rock Vegas. You know, the antique microphone. What utter contempt for the musicians that shows by not replacing that microphone, fobbing it off on like the bakery, which apparently is the low spot on the totem pole at the Middle East. But my head's just full of things to tell you about. Well, Mickey Bliss was not present, although he will be in full force 2 weeks hence because he had a flu, and so the band took over and did a little jamming. And Skaggy Kendall, well, first the guys from 50 Bucks walk in and say, you know, jazz just doesn't work in this room. And then Skaggy Kendall, one of the El Dorado founders, who's now doing one night a week, and apparently the strain is starting to get to him, because I came in at about 9:30 in the upstairs portion and said, you know, we can't get the sound system to work. And he said, well, I can't deal with it now. It's like, okay, I can understand, you know, you're a little stressed out, you got a big show that 30 people are going to show up to, and I guess your reputation would be dirt around town if, you know, you didn't come through for him. But and then he comes up to me just before the, you know, right at the beginning of the third set and says, these guys are lousy, they're awful. And I said, well, maybe if you replace the microphones. And he said, no, the other bands have played here, they've been good. And it's like, when's the last time you were here? And I felt like saying, well, Skaggy, I was here about 3 weeks ago, taping a show for you guys without having to be asked, doing it out of the goodness of my heart so I can present it to all those folks out there in cable television land. I felt like saying that, but I didn't. You know, he stormed out and he started ragging Mickey Bliss, who's sitting there dying of a flu because the band doesn't sound good. And, you know, what can you expect from a microphone that that looks like it's been stepped on by Barnum and Bailey's elephant herd, you know? It's just impossible. And all I can say is the more things change, the more they stay the same. I remember back in 1988, yeah, Billy, Skaggy, and Joey Harvard were running the show. And, you know, of course, the Sater brothers, Joseph and Neville, and they have a really good reputation around town. You know, because basically what they're interested in is the restaurant. And they leave the rock and roll stuff to the kids. Provided, of course, the rock acts bring in the kind of people who like to drink lots and lots of beer and flush their money down the toilet after they take a piss. Bonnie Boulay said as much in 1986 at TT's. She offered me the unsolicited comment that she liked the band The Neats because their customers were drinkers, heavy drinkers. So I guess the ideal band would be called the Alcoholics or the Codependents or the 12 Steppers or Falling Off the Wagon or something. Basically, the music business is actually the beer business. Now, some of you who've been around the block probably already realized this, but it was a big revelation to me back 10 years ago. And I've been involved in this scene for, I don't know, 13 years or so actively, and somewhat more passively for an additional 4 or 5 years prior to that. So nothing should surprise me anymore. But somehow, the music business in this town always ends up surprising me in new and frightening ways, which are calculated to make me turn into the wrong hero and hold forth at great and, I'm sure, excessive length concerning same. Prior to Skeggy having come up to me of all people, who hasn't worked there for a year and a half, who has really nothing to do with anything that goes on there anymore, other than occasionally coming in and videotaping their shows for them, without asking for 1 cent in payment, incidentally, I might add. Prior to that, of course, I was on their payroll and was getting compensated quite lucratively for taping these shows. So I'm throwing them a couple of freebies every now and then. Who knows? Maybe someday they'll call me back there, although I'm not counting on it. And even if they did, by now I'm kind of like, thank God I got out of there when I did. If Skeggy's any indication of what that kind of thing does to you. Well, I did an introductory set, and then I did a full set when the band took its intermission, and it went pretty well. And Joseph was there, Joseph Sager, and I think he actually laughed for the first time in living memory at some of the things I was saying. I don't think the Sager brothers really were on the same wavelength as me, but God bless them, they put up with me for, I don't know, probably about around 6 years, 5.5 years all told. They put up with my shenanigans, long after others had more or less given up. Well, anyway, prior to Skeggy's unexpected outburst, directed at God knows who, certainly not me. I have nothing to do with it. It's not my fault, you know. Okay, maybe the band's not doing particularly well considering there's 2 people and one of them works there, and you know, your sound system and all that. But then prior to that, Ron Mirsky comes up to me. He books the bakery, and he says, you know, do me a favor. Next time you decide to get up on stage, let me know first. I'm catching all sorts of flack from all sorts of people. Apparently, the owners, the staff, and the booking agents are all piling on poor Ron Mirsky, who incidentally got his start at my open mic at the Middle East. But apparently what goes around comes around isn't in the lexicon of the music business per se. Anyway, and it's like, great, you know, I'm up here busting my hump, screaming over a sound system that should have been scrapped during sometime halfway between the Reagan administration and what's my thanks? Not, hey, you know, here's $10, you did a great job. Not even, oh, maybe I'll book you again here sometime, you know, give me your number, here's my card. No, it's like, you know, do me a favor, let me know. You're treading on my turf. You're horning yourself in where you're not wanted, apparently. Oh, I'm used to this sort of thing. Well, you know, the thing is, it's a funny thing how I got to be on the same bill with Mickey Bliss. Basically, on Monday night, prior to the Tuesday night of the show, I got a hold of the Middle East's schedule, and I noticed that Mickey Bliss was performing in the bakery. So I gave him a call. And, the very same Tuesday afternoon of the show, he wasn't at work. He was home sick with the flu, so I called him at home. I said, hey, I'm going to be there at the Middle East. I'll you know, I more or less volunteered my services without having him ask me first. And, you know, he was very nice. He's a cool guy. And we had our differences in the past, but sometimes it's the people that you don't get along with at first, for whatever reason, who you end up getting along with the best. And he said, sure, yeah, come on down, and so forth. He even brought a blank tape so I could make him a dub. You know, most bands, they expect you to like do everything out of your own pocket, right? You know, well, we're such great talents that obviously you should be thrilled just for the privilege of taping us. Never mind, it cost you $10 in gas money to get up here. The tape itself costs $3. The wear and tear on your machine, which is none too healthy, is also, you know, something to be factored in. And of course, forgetting of course your valuable time. What's it worth? About 50 cents an hour to you? we'll give you $1.50. You know, they don't even say that. You know, they don't offer you a blank tape. They don't offer to pay you. They expect you to tape their show and give them a copy, provided to them free, gratis, of course, even though it might cost you $20 to dub the tape for them. So, you know, conservatively, you're out a good $30 when all's said and done. And I don't know, it's just nice when someone actually gives you a videotape and tells you to get it to them whenever you can. But hey, I should have known that nothing will ever change at the Middle East. And you know, in all sincerity, the Middle East is like the best thing that ever happened to Central Square, as far as I'm concerned. Prior to that, what was there? I'll reach back into the furthest depths of my ancestral memory. 1975 is when I first hit town. I was attending an undergraduate institution located in Harvard Square, the name of which begins with the letter H. And I don't think there was anything in Central Square, any music club of any kind, except maybe that place at 490 Mass Ave, which is now the Phoenix. But you know, it was probably a blues bar or something like that. And then, you know, eventually, I guess that place up the street, the upstairs, whatever the hell they called it, the lounge, the box. It later became Night Stage. I kind of forget what they called it, the club. You know, that was there, and it was the Rise Club, right along the 490 block of Mass Ave. It was the 5th floor of some building, and every Saturday morning at 4 a.m., people would stream out of there, you know, and there'd be fist fights and all sorts of stuff going on. And inevitably, the cop cars would show up, and people would be cuffed and thrown in the paddy wagons. And so, you know, that was the scene back in like 1980, 81. In like late 1984, TT the Bears opened up. That sort of laid the groundwork. But still, it was to be another 3 years, and if you don't count Night Stage, before another club was to open up. And of course, that was the Middle East. The Brainstorm, the Middle East had been offering ethnic music all along, but never any rock and roll per se. And it was the brainstorm of Sue Miller, the wife of Roger Miller, of Birdsongs of the Mesozoic, Mission of Burma, and too many other prestigious bands to mention. You see, I'm ladling on some honey along with the vitriol. It helps it go down a little better. And Billy Ruane sort of acted on this and opened up the club. And the thing is, you know, Joseph and Nabil Sater, they're smart. They don't get directly involved in anything having anything to do with the club. You know, they let the booking agents and the staff deal with that stuff. So they're never cast as the heavies when the bands start whining about how they didn't get paid for their gig. Well, because you didn't bring anybody. And the people you did bring didn't drink anything. So you now I'm switching from the aggrieved party to, you know, the cold, ruthless, mercantilist, capitalist sort of. See, I've been on both sides of it. You know, I've done the rock critic thing. I've been a patron of nightclubs. I've helped run nightclubs. Now I'm back at, you know, and I've performed in nightclubs. So I've seen it from every single side. Everybody has some complaint about the nightclub. With comedians, it's the lighting, the sound system. The lighting sucks. I can't even see my own hand that I have my notes written on here. The sound sucks. The people in the back row can't hear me. People in the front row don't want to hear me because I'm too loud. Everybody has their complaints. The musicians, you know, I can't hear myself through the monitors. I'm not getting paid enough for this. Why do I have to wait till the end of the night to get paid? Why do I have to load in at 6 p.m. when I don't go on stage until 11:30, or if you're lucky, or 9:30 if you're not? Why do I have to do a 9 o'clock show when nobody's here? It's like, well, everybody's got to start somewhere, and apparently this is where you're going to start, doing a 9 o'clock show. Why can't I have more than half an hour? Well, you only have 20 minutes of material, and with you diddling and fiddling around with the sound equipment and tuning up on stage and your witty patter, that half an hour is more than enough for the likes of you. And you know, club owners, they have their complaints about the bands. The bands that aren't responsible, they complain about minor stuff. They never call ahead when they're going to cancel out at the last minutes. They don't bring enough people. And the people they do bring don't drink enough beer. They smoke pot in the bathrooms. You know, I mean, I've seen every single conceivable situation, and I should write a book someday, especially about the Middle East, which it's like the inmates literally had taken over the asylum back when I was working there. I spent quite a bit of time there at one time, like, you know, like every day, practically. I was in there virtually every night they were open, which back at the start was like Tuesday and Thursday. And then they added a Saturday blues jam. And, you know, the blues jam is like the longest continuous thing running there. It's far outstripping my personal record of being the longest running single feature act, which I still am, by the way. I've done more performances in the Middle East than any man alive, so I know whereof I speak from every single aspect of the Middle East nightclub. How many shows have you done there, Wrong Hero? You might well be asking yourself. Well, conservatively, let's say I've done 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, maybe 650 shows, and of which I've probably audio taped 99.9% of them and videotaped roughly about 85% of them. And if judging from my videotaped output that you have been seeing here on this program and on the companion program, Cafe Cabaret, which broadcasts on Tuesday night, all told, I have probably done, I've got 200 hours on videotape at least. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, yeah, basically when the place first opened, it really was a case of the inmates running the asylum, and anybody who was capable of restraining the excesses of Mr. William Ruane was a welcome addition to the team. Actually, Billy waited about 7 months before he offered me a job there, even though I had known him for about 10, 11 years. And I guess he was desperate. One day he said to me, "We need someone to work one Thursday. Will you do it?" "Sure." And from there, I never looked back for, 6.5 years. And it really played hard with my love life. And I actually had some responsibilities there. I was what you might call a weekend supervisor. I guess the pressure did kind of get to me, having to hire people, fire people. I've really only hired one person, and that was Cecil, who used to run the Reggae Jam. And Cecil, if you're watching this, I'd love to know why you're not doing it anymore, but I have a pretty good idea why. You only bring 15 people into this place, and none of them drink. They're reggae people. They don't believe in alcohol. They're the same 15 people every week. None of them drink. We're losing money on this. You know, sure you are, yeah. And you're making it hand over fist everywhere else. So, but you know, they are businessmen, and business is business. And you know, what can you say? I'm not going to presume to be a better business person than they are. But so I sort of got rooked into working in the Middle East, and eventually became Billy Ruane's, I don't know how to put it exactly, a second banana, sidekick, call it what you will. Watched his back, basically. It's good to have someone to watch your back. Now, you know, the show I just did at the Middle East, I had somebody there, a friend, who had seen me perform before, and he knew what to tell me to do. It's like, don't use the microphone. It doesn't work. They can't understand you.
stand back, just do it like that. And that was valuable advice, which I didn't follow for the second set, with predictably disastrous results, considering that the microphones don't work and there are only 2 people in the place. And, anyway, yeah, so I was the guy who used to stand by when Billy would shriek at the bands for demanding an extra $20 and say, "Here, Billy, I made $20 at the door. Why don't you give it to the bands?" And of course, Billy was always foregoing his own salary to pay the bands. So I felt as though I could do no less but to follow in the footsteps of the Golden Master. What a crew was running that place. Initially, it was like a triumvirate. There was Billy, Skeggy Kendall, formerly of Lifeboat, and it was like the first band I ever reviewed. And I didn't give them a very good review either. Not really the first live band in the Boston area that I ever reviewed, but the first I ever reviewed for The Noise. And you can read it in The Noise number 42 from August of 1985, back when they still put out an August issue. But how do I remember these things? And I don't even know my own bank account number. How humiliating. I can't even get out my money. I gotta call my girlfriend and ask her what it is because it's the same as hers. So, it was Skeggy and Joey Harvard, but they sort of, or Joey and Cagnoli, as we knew him at Harvard, before he assumed the pseudonym of Joe Harvard, which of course has a lot of Harvard people upset. How dare he use the precious name of Harvard? So there was Skeggy, and I pretty much stayed out of his way. I didn't have much truck with Skeggy or Joe Harvard. It was Billy Ruane, and of course an invaluable addition to this team was Jennifer Cares, the 4th Hell Dorado person, and myself, the 5th Hell Dorado person, and Michael Higgins, the 6th Hell Dorado person. I don't know if Michael still freelances at the Middle East anymore, but I do know that he does freelance at TT's from time to time. So if you ever see him, say hello. He actually volunteered to do sound for me back when I was doing gigs at Catch a Rising Star. What a guy. And if I was too stingy to buy him a beer, he never complained. So I owe him a lot. At one time, Billy Ruane's behavior was so extreme that one of the nervous owners came up to me and Michael and suggested that we start running the booking operation. They were on the verge of firing Billy more than once during the 2.5 odd years of his tenure there. But Michael and I said, "Oh no, we don't want to do this. We don't want this job." In retrospect, it was probably the wisest decision we ever made. So anyway, no, I didn't have much to do with Joey Harvard until after he had dropped out. He decided he wanted to become involved in the Middle East again. So he would do the Wednesday nights. And that sort of jarred or jived, didn't quite jive with my open mic, which was on the Wednesday nights prior to the bands. And Joey and I had more than one spat, often on stage, occasionally videotaped, always audio taped. It's going to be quite a chore to compile every single audio tape that I've ever made that hasn't been on videotape and run it on this or a companion program. And in fact, it might not be worth the effort or the time or the result to do so. But perhaps some select moments would suffice, like the time I was on stage and I said, "Harvard is like heroin. Once you get it in your system, it never leaves you." Now, I personally have never used heroin, but I know certain booking agents who have. Some of them just tried it once, albeit in my kitchen, the very same kitchen that you see here. No names. And others sort of got strung out. It's like, shit, man. When you want to get strung out, why not save money like a heroin addict spends it, and then, you'll be so rich you can do whatever you damn well please instead of being a miserable, sniveling junkie in a filthy raincoat covered with snot and vomit, with needle tracks up and down your arms, looking like death warmed over. somebody that O.J. Simpson wouldn't even deign to kill and let him look at. Anyway, yeah, so I wasn't exactly on Joey Harvard's good side. And he took every opportunity to let me know that he didn't think very highly either of me or whatever small talent I may at one time have possessed. So that's it. Around the world at the Middle East. Yes, it's a wonderful place. And I guess it'll be stories to tell my grandchildren. Gee, I sure do wish I could remember some of them anecdotes, but well, you know how it is. You get old and you don't take care of yourself when you're a kid, and next thing you know, you've forgotten everything that happened between 1988 and 1995. You know, actually, the job was starting to get to me, quite frankly. Unlimited free beer and exposure to all sorts of illegal drugs, whether or not one actually partakes of them or not, is somewhat immaterial, since you're having to deal with people who are, in fact, fucked up on these drugs. Not the staff, mind you. They are prohibited from the use of illegal substances, at least on premises. And I personally don't really care what they do in the privacy of their own homes, or for that matter, in the privacy of the back alley right across the street from the Middle East. No, but I decided after looking at some of these people that maybe drinking wasn't a good thing for me to do, at least as long as I had unlimited free beer at my disposal. And for that matter, other drugs were probably not a very good idea when it came to being productive. And sure enough, you know, once I got these bad influences out of my life, thanks to the love of a good woman and my removal eventually, at least, from that scene, I've been incredibly productive. Perhaps not so much in the field of comedy, but in more serious endeavors. Yes, you know, my essays, they put Montaigne to shame. La Rochefoucauld, you call yourself an epigrammatist? Fall. Ambrose Bierce, Oscar Wilde, step aside, make room for the master. Now here I am talking about the Middle East and wearing one of their shirts, which they gave me, you know, out of the goodness of their hearts. They didn't have to give it to me, except that I was working there at the time, of course, and needed to have something that identified me. I wonder why it was they eventually let me go. Maybe because I was getting snappish and testy with some of the patrons. And now that's the thing. That's the aspect that I haven't really explored concerning the Middle East, the patron-staff relationship. You know, I used to resent it when I'd go to Big Rock arenas and I'd be herded into place by armed security thugs wearing uniforms and, you know, paying $40 for the rare privilege of being prodded along like cattle being led to their own slaughter. But, you know, looking at it from the staff person's perspective, you've got to, people in a mob are, you know, they're unpredictable, and you have to sort of have an authoritative voice. Just use the same voice you would do to call your dog after it runs in the middle of the street, like Mona, you know, Mona, come here, you know, and it's about the same voice that you sometimes have to use when things get a little out of hand. And again, I've been on both sides of this. In 1985 or 6, I jumped up on stage during a Dread Fool concert at the Rat after having slugged down whiskey that I had smuggled into the establishment. Of course, they carried me bodily out and threw me into the street. And I later found out that my tape recorder was missing. So I began screaming vile abuse at them until the police showed up. And fortunately, my cooler-headed friend was there, and I didn't end up spending the night in jail in Roxbury. He said, "How are you guys getting home?" "Oh, we didn't bring a car, we're walking home." And walk home we did. So, you know, I've been a rowdy patron myself. And so club members, you know, club staff, they might seem rude, but it is because club goers, as an individual entity, one-on-one, you know, they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but as a collective, they, you know, there's always a few bad apples. There's always a few good apples that spoil a bad bunch, if you know what I'm saying. Billy Ruane had to budget like 20% of his take on freebies, and that was down from 40 or 50%. That was one of my jobs. I was the guy that said, you're not important enough to be on our permanent guest list. Your credentials don't check out. You say you're a rock journalist, but you didn't bring any clips. You say you're a photographer, but where's your camera? You know, that kind of deal. It's like, hi, I'm from radio station WOBSCURE off in Littleton. We are a 10-watt station. I like to bring myself and 50 of my friends to see the show for free. And it's like, what are you going to do to us if we don't let you in for free? Badmouth us on your radio station? Yeah, that's exactly what we were going to threaten you with now that you mention it. But I'll tell you what, we'll make a deal. 49 of us get in for free, and I'll pay. You know, I'll pay $3. And, you know, in a room that has a seating capacity of about 100 and a standing capacity of no more than 125. And yeah, I get testy with the patrons. And maybe that had something to do with my no longer working there. I don't like to refer to it as fired. I like to say my contract was not renewed at the end of the year. And as a matter of fact, my last day as an employee there was New Year's Eve of 1994. A day to remember. I did a 90-minute show. And since then, I've probably performed there maybe half a dozen times, which is a lot more relaxed a schedule than every week or even twice a week as I was doing there at one time, or even 3 times a week if you count the pre-show, the show itself, and the blues jam or whatever the hell they had. So I don't know, the whole club thing. It's funny, I know it inside out, but that's not exactly a marketable skill. I'm not quite sure I want to get back into that sort of thing. Up here it's bad enough, but I live in Providence, and down there, you know, it's just like, oh, no. No. Now my idea of a club, a nice club, would be, a little proscenium stage with extremely comfortable seats, with cup holders, so you don't have to juggle 3 beers, and you know, nice quiet music so people can talk over it before the band comes on, and then bands that don't insist on turning up every single amplifier as loud as it will possibly go. Now I have nothing against loud, raucous, raunchy rock and roll music. It has its place, just like everything else, but so often turning up the volume covers a multitude of musical deficiencies. It's like the writer who's no good with descriptions of people, so he goes into science fiction writing. Or the poet who's possessed of the archaic notion that writing out the personal pronoun in the lower case is a stylistic innovation, like Nikki Giovanni still does, I've noticed, to my dismay. It's just, you know, don't you fools, don't you realize people know and they're laughing at you? That's my message. Of course, it is a message which could well be turned against myself now, couldn't it? Gee, I had this mirror. I'd like to show you this mirror, okay? So I'll pause. Whoa, if I were a shameless hack, instead of a shame-faced hack, I would do this every time I got up on stage. Get it? I don't know if this is picking it up or not. You're number one. You know, it's like, hey man, you guys are the real stars. Without you, none of this would be happening. And yeah, every shameless trick in the book. Been there, done that, seen them all. Hey, well, let's see your lighters, Boston, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't know, it just gets kind of old. And rock and roll is not necessarily the kind of environment where your intellectual prowess can meet its most receptive audience. Let's just put it that way and leave it at that. Now, doesn't mean I'm giving up on rock and roll. Just that, well, there's a lot more out there than just plain old rock and roll. Of course, I've realized this for years. So why do you continue doing rock and roll shows? Even though you're not wanted. Well, I don't do as many rock and roll shows. I've been branching out. That means poetry readings, where you hear more lousy poetry in one night than you've heard in a lifetime prior to that. Or folk music open mics, which, well, they're okay, you know, but 14 people in a row all doing, you know, the same 1-7-1 chord progressions or what have you. Well, that would be good, but no, they don't do those. They do the folk music progression, whatever that is, 1-2-5. I don't know. I don't know theory. I don't pretend to know theory. Bob Dole doesn't know theory. So, you know, I ran a folk music open mic. It wasn't really a folk music open mic per se, but that's what it became. Folk music is every bit as oppressive as the injustices it is supposedly attempting to eradicate. Let's put it that way. It's sort of like cancer. I mean, once you let one folk musician into your open mic, they take over. They take over. Poets never presume to take over your open mic. Comedians might try to do it, but there are seldom more than 6 comedians doing the open mic circuit at any given time who are willing to come back. So, you know, it's folk music. Folk music will take over. You almost never see a guy get up at an open mic and do a rock song. It's always a folk song for some mysterious reason beyond my comprehension. But they're a better audience than the rock people. And the poetry people are a better audience still than the folk people. And the theater people, you know, provided you're not running over your time limit for whatever production you're being the opening stooge for, they're receptive too. And of course, a comedy crowd, they're there to laugh, right? I'm not saying that comedy clubs always attract the brightest intellects, but if you tickle their funny bones, and by God, they will respond. So, you know, it's good to do comedy clubs, although that can get old in a hurry. I did the comedy scene for, about 18 months, pretty intensively. And then another year and a half, I did it sort of less so. And, you know, you could spend your life, you could waste your life in front of that brick wall that every comedy club seems to have. The brick wall, which is a prelude to your being blindfolded with a handkerchief and shot by a firing squad of your fellow comedians. How many people actually consider themselves stand-up comedians? They all want to be actors or talk show hosts, anything but a professional stand-up comedian. Writers of books, plays, you know, Stephen Wright, all the brilliant ones. They go on to other things, movies. Steve Martin, Jay Leno, Dave Letterman, they all go on to something else. Rosie O'Donnell, for Christ's sake. And so anyway, it was a grand experiment doing rock clubs. If you can make them laugh, I'll tell you right now, you can make anybody laugh. And that's just about the final word I have to say on the subject.